Guys, I'm Robert Carpenter, CEO of Civic Group and COO of the Wolf Designers. If you have a child, nephew, niece, or just a child you love, go to BigRobChildrenBooks.com. Buy one of our books, t-shirts, hoodies, and support an underserved child. When you buy something, proceeds go to helping an underserved child. So click on the link and support a child.
Me like fly paper, neighbor. Slow down, love, please chill, drop the paper. Remember them niggas from the hill up in Brownsville that you rode dice?
Hello, guys.
Hey, big guy, this is Big Rob. Just wanted to let you guys know that there's some huge things going on at the HBCU. And the Big Rob Children books. And first, let you know before we get into this, you can go pick up a Big Rob Children's book at BigRobChildren'sBooks.com. And you can donate to historical black colleges at HBCU National Boosters Club.com. Well, the big news is that the first big news I just want to talk about on the historical black colleges is that Bonzi Wells is supposed to be taking over a head coaching position at one of the historical black colleges. And I wanted to talk about that and I saw it. It is funny to me that there was at one time when our professional black athletes wasn't taking on head coaching positions at universities, so they would go off to these white institutions, predominantly white institutions where they attended schools at like the North Carolina, the Dukes, and they would take assistant positions. They would be assistant coaches for years. For years, they would just be, and they would be qualified. And so now, with this new movement, with this new BLM movement, I'm watching a lot of the pro players start taking a different look at how they're accepting jobs. They're no longer trying to take on these head coaching jobs at universities that they're attending. They're starting to bring their resources back to HBCUs, historical black colleges and universities. Um, we watch on and on and on how, and it's okay, but we watch on and on how some of our professional players will go and if they did get jobs at the alma mater, they would just wouldn't even coach. And there was so many times there was opportunities that they could coach in the CIAA, the MEAC, and be very vibrant and it could give something back to a community that was well needed and probably well deserved. Because we always the support system for our black athletes. We support them. So and when they go off and they go off into these white institutions, they forget that there's institutions in 107 historical black colleges that they can come in and offer an opportunity. They can be given an opportunity and offer an opportunity to young guys who want to learn the game and understand the game and at historical black colleges. Prime example, Cleo Hill. He didn't go to the NBA, but he did play professional basketball before season. He brought his service back to historical black colleges. He started coaching. So I was reading an article on Bonzi and noticed that wow, this is like a beautiful thing that a gentleman is going in and he's going to bring his services back to an historical black college, which we need our pro players to come back and say, hey, you know what? I'm going to spend my time here. I'm going to coach here and do very things. So, guys, you don't know this is Bonzi Wells. Um, Bonzi Wells stayed with the Memphis, and he's coming back He's going to take his services to coach for that instructor back. And also, in my research, I find that Coach Richardson, who was one of the Winston State coaches, is getting a field name. This is Coach Richardson. He coached over at Winston State University. I just want to let young people know that and young people of color, indigenous people, historically black colleges have been really doing some great things. They have really been putting out some real professional people. And I already knew it, but I started doing a lot more research. And I'm finding out that there's a lot of individuals out here who attended historical black colleges who are entrepreneurs, who are Congress people, who are strong politicians, who are even on the presidential administration. They are head of state administrations. And so that you can go to this university or go to a historical black college and still be successful, still reach those levels of high success. And I just showed you two individuals, one who's getting his name, Coach Richardson, who's getting his name, a field named after him, and Bonzi Wells, who played in the NBA and who was a heck of an NBA player. And he's going to bring his resources and his mind back to historical black colleges. And so, what I want to say to young people out there is to look into these historical black colleges. There's 107 of them, and they all over the country. You got Texas Southern, you got Winston State, you got Shaw. I mean Cheney. I mean you can go on and on and on. They're all over the country, and they're offering great education for those who, education comes from those who really want it, those who implement, put their heart into it, and and that are focused. So Big Rob Children's Book, we support those stuff, and I'm on this path to raise $1 million for stuff veterans, and it's some people said to me, I said, well, that's not. If I just sit around and wait for somebody else to try to do something, then I'll listen to them. I'm a looker like everybody. So I'm tired of it. I'm tired of looking at the alumni. I'm tired of looking at the administration. I'm tired of looking at people just sit back, see the problem that's going on at this level, black community, won't do a damn thing. So the only way we're going to change it is that maybe I see change. Because we start this campaign. Well, when I started this training job, it was all about building resources for underserved children. And then I wrote this book with Dr. Spell, and we were down at Winston State University. He was walking over the campus and I thought, you know, Winston State University really new too. 10 million, 27 million new schools, now we don't even own the football field. It's ridiculous. All these years of me, one, Ben, the player, Mississippi University Grand family, we don't even own the football field. That's ridiculous. I don't care how big your house is, you ain't doing it. You ain't giving back, you ain't taking opportunity to help them. Let's say State University, my university that my father played, don't even own the football field. They don't control the concession stands, nothing. And if you're an alumni and you know that, you should be ashamed of yourself. You should be, you should get on your knees and pray and ask God, how this happened? You know, the stadium that I sat in screaming, the former youth, 100 proof is in my locker. You don't know. They went into the gym, and the gym AC, you don't even know the works. It's an old system. And they don't, it's an institution. We that attended there, we that laid, and studied all night there, we are the people who's supposed to make these changes. I'm talking to all of you. Y'all come to homecoming, y'all doing all this cooking, this, you're going to they don't give nothing to them. When it comes to a party, you know, all that liquor at the Yankee party, they raise no money together for the next person that comes. You guys came in, the great experiences, and some other experiences, but all experiences are good experiences. With that learning that um, you're not supporting the APCU, the teachers, the administrators, the nurses, the doctors, the lawyers that come around, the APCU. You're not supporting this school system to get things to. I'm not even a graduate. I went to, I'm not a graduate, but it gave me a direction. I became an entrepreneur because of this. And me being an entrepreneur put thousands of dollars in my pocket because of what I've learned of being on the campus, because of the people who impacted me, like the Blaylock, who impacted me, the Big House Games, who impacted me. Told me, you ain't gonna play basketball if you gonna do this bullshit. It made me start looking at myself, not everybody else, and blaming everybody else. I'm talking to everybody. It's October 22nd, we have this conversation. Everybody that we do something, put that plant money to it. You know, like you're going to get a plant, you do code, government, probably get this something pretty cool in the look. The 5,000 students, 5600 students, I don't know just a year ago. I don't know what the incoming class the past few years. Let me say 500. 500 students a year coming to school, on and off campus. Mm-hmm. We just put $25 in work to the side. Everybody with every campus in the work, you can make a change. And if you want to start, if you don't trust the university, donate to APCU National Booster Club. Become a member of the Booster Club. We want to make change at these APCU. Not only at Western State, how? I'm looking at it. We're doing all the due diligence at all through this. I got my assistant working on looking at what the financial problem is. I'm going to say this. We're going to keep preaching and we'll keep talking and we'll keep making changes. Don't be a homecoming fan and if you ain't going to be a fan. Give up that butt so we can change it. The next chapter. Really, I'm a doubt. What am I going to leave on this earth? This is Big Wow, APCU National Boosters Club.com and the Big Wow Children's Book. We all raising money to make lives change. to change it.